What is going on, guys? You're watching The Hungry Handgunner. I'm Nick, and we are out on the range today, but you're not going to hear any gunfire for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't know if you guys have tried to buy ammo recently, but ammo is scarce, and I don't like to shoot things when they are scarce. So I want to be sure that I can get more, etc., etc. So that being said, today's topic is going to be, can you still practice, and to what extent can you still practice your self-defense and firearm skills without ammo? We're going to be primarily focusing on handguns today because that's what most of us carry, and I want to talk about a few things. So for starters, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I'm using for the video today. Is my M9A3. There's no mag inserted. Chamber is clear. This video is going to be aimed at a lot of my normal viewers that may have this question, and a lot of the folks that I've been putting out the recent three-part series on new gun owners, guys getting guns for shit hitting the fan, or SHTF. So we'll go ahead and get this out of the way, there is no substitute for live fire. Everything about your gun, the way it handles, everything that would happen in a self-defense situation can only really be closely mimicked as far as the performance of the gun from using live ammunition and actually shooting that gun. Everything else is going to be a substitution based on necessity and convenience. So with that going forward, I think it's important to note that even things like buying a 22 conversion kit, which they have them for Berettas, they have them for Glocks, all sorts of 1911s. They have those 22 caliber conversion kits to allow you to practice more cheaply with a given firearm. I suppose that that's better than nothing, but I'm not convinced of their effectiveness as far as actually preparing you to use that gun in its normal chambering for self-defense. So that being said, rather than the expenditure for 22 and a conversion kit, etc., by using an unloaded weapon, there are several things that you can work on. Number one, and this is all stuff that you should technically already be doing, it's just oftentimes the emphasis is driven home on this stuff in light of an ammo shortage, because it is a lot more fun to get out here and hit steel and punch holes in paper and stuff like that and have a good time with live fire. We don't always focus on a lot of the other stuff as much as we should, or at least I don't, speaking personally here. But you can work on things like your draw from the holster, your presentation, reholstering, making sure everything's good there. You can practice around your house, clearing your house, coming up with a defense plan for your home. Again, things that you shouldn't necessarily wait for an ammo shortage or an inability to do live fire to start doing, but better late than never. The other thing you can do is dry fire practice. So you can even put a target up on your wall that I've seen people do if you're going to do this indoors, which I'm out on my range right now. The worst thing that would happen if this gun went off down there when I was dry firing would be my ears would hurt, I'd get a headache, and my tinnitus would punish me later. So indoor dry fire practice, it's not taboo. It's not something you shouldn't do under any circumstances. You need to verify that your gun is unloaded, sometimes double, triple, whatever check to make sure that you are convinced that it's unloaded. I like to take the ammunition, the round that's in the chamber, and the magazine and put it far away. So even if muscle memory takes over and I start loading that gun up, it's going to take an added step to get that ammo. Some people recommend you put it in a different room. Do what makes you feel comfortable. Make sure your gun has no bullets in it, no ammunition. And dry fire is simply firing a gun with no ammo. So this is a double action pistol. This one is very easy to practice dry fire with. You find a target and you work on your trigger press, and you can work on your single action trigger press, and you just practice your dry fire. You are literally practicing shooting the gun. I'm seeing a bunch of shit I can work on as I'm doing it. You're practicing firing the gun with no ammo. It is a good exercise to get into. It will inherently make you more familiar with your gun and the operation of that gun, the trigger and everything else. You can do it with striker fired guns. So here we have my CZ P10C, no magazine inserted, and the chamber is clear. So with this, instead of being a double action gun, it's a little bit more work, a little bit more annoying to practice with these, but still absolutely you can dry fire with them. Same principles apply. You're just working on your trigger press, sight alignment, etc. Hold the trigger to the rear, pull the slide, let the trigger off. Practice that. Reset, practice figuring out where that reset's at. You can do that if you want to. You can let completely off the trigger, I don't care. but you are getting in some valuable practice with that gun, and that is useful on a number of levels. It can still, if you have a set schedule that you typically go to the range, and for whatever reason you're not comfortable using live ammunition, stick to that schedule. And if you want to go to the range to mimic that schedule, that's fine. You can do that, I'm sure. Or you can, if you're like me and you shoot somewhere where you don't have to go anywhere, do that, or in the comfort of your home, whatever. So you can practice that. You can practice reading up on your self-defense laws in your state. Again, definitely should be doing that already. Shame on you if you're not, but get a more in-depth knowledge of that. The biggest things, though, I'm going to say is going to be working on your presentation and draw, which this is a new holster. I don't typically carry this gun, so don't laugh at me too hard. It's part of what I'm out here doing. Practice your presentation, your draw, your dry firing. All those things are going to be important. Weapons maintenance, it's a good time to go over your guns with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure they're clean, all the components are in good working order. And I will say, while we're talking about it, the best way to dry fire as far as care of the gun is to get things, for my new guys, snap caps. They look identical to a normal round as far as dimensionally. They're often an orange color or some other vibrantly colored to let you know that it's not a live round of ammunition. But functionally, as far as the dimensions, they will work the same. You can put them in a magazine chamber, eject them, etc. And they're a good training aid. They're inert. They're not going to do anything when you pull the trigger with them under there. The one thing they do is something very passively, but with some guns is very important. It will give just enough resistance to the firing pin to prevent any damage. You see this a lot with CZ firearms. As much as I love them, they're hammer-fired models, like they're PO1s and things like that. It's a known issue that if you dry fire them without something supporting that firing pin, like a snap cap or live fire even, that round under the firing pin helps prevent a lot of wear to things like the firing pin, retaining pin, things like that. So to be absolutely safe when you're dry firing, it is a good idea to use snap caps. So I don't have any out here with me to demonstrate, but even in a striker fired gun, you may be thinking, well, you have to pull the slide, you know, you're going to end up picking it up the floor every time. You can see now the trigger's all the way to the rear. You don't have to pull the slide all the way. So I pulled it a third of the way, half of the way, not enough for the round to actually come out of the chamber if there was one, and yet the trigger reset. So you can practice that. That's a good thing to do. Overall, guys, the big takeaway here is don't get complacent. Don't say, oh, I don't have ammo, I can't go practice. You can. You cannot necessarily practice the same things that you normally would do, but you can practice different things that you probably should have been doing. So I hope that helps you out. If you have any more questions or things that I may have missed that I need to cover next time, drop me a comment and let me know. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I try to stay relevant and I try to have fun with it and answer you guys' questions. So I'd appreciate that a lot if you did sub. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. That's how I know how I'm doing with you guys, and lets me know if you like me, hate me, whatever. There's always somebody that hates me. I'm used to that. Overall, guys, please stay safe in these times of uncertainty. Hopefully it is not as bad as a lot of us think it's going to be, and hopefully we can get back to the new normal going forward. I think a lot of people are learning now, though, that preparedness isn't just for crazy people. Things can change very quickly. So I hope and pray for the best for all of you and all your families. I'll see you next time.